Hello, my name is Braden Sharp, and this is a documentary about my grandfather, George Bogle. George was born to Louis Edward Bogle and Isabel Ann Holtz on February 12, 1944, in Denton, Texas. He had four sisters, Helen, Angus, Lucille, and Mary. What I know about my grandfather was so. He was married to my grandmother April 27th, 1968. He served in the United States Army in Vietnam. He worked at the fire department for 24 years. When he was not at the fire station, he was baling hay in the Denton County, Cook County area. He is survived by his 2 kids and 5 grandkids. Bradley Sharp, my uncle, Becky Sharp, my mother, and Whitney Branson, Brennan Brasson, Braden, myself. That's what I know about him for sure. And in this documentary, we're going to find out more about him by interviewing Rhonda Graves, his wife.
First time I met George, him and his sister, I was real good friends with his sister. And we met at the Dairy Best in Paula Point, Texas. And it was over a hamburger at the Dairy Best. His sister left to go on. She liked to drag race. She had a car that could really run. Well, her brother ordered a hamburger, and he went somewhere, and she said, will you get this hamburger for George? And I said, yes. So I stayed there and got the hamburger. Then George came up, and we met through that, and to this day, he still owes me for that hamburger. After we met with the hamburger stuff, he asked me if I'd like to go somewhere. And I said, yeah, that would be fine. So our first date was supposed to have been going to the movies in Denton, Texas, but it ended up being on the square in Paula Point. That's where everybody met to talk or whatever. And we spent about 2 hours up on the square, and that's how my first date came. That was also the time that I told him, I said, if this is all we're going to do, George, you can just take me home. And he looked at me and grinned, and he said, okay. So he started on the way, but he did not go to the way to Tioga. He turned to go out by where the sale barn was in Paula Point. He pulled up in this driveway deal across from the sale barn. It had 3 out there. He got out, climbed the fence, went over and got one, and reached around and kissed it. He said, good night, Wanda. So he came back and got in the car, and he took me home. That's what happened on our first date. Him and my daddy had bought a place in Tioga, a house in Tioga. And that's just right after we moved back from Dallas. And he said, honey, I worked also. He said, when you come home tonight, dress up. I'll take you out to eat. I said, oh, okay, that'll be great. So I came home and got cleaned up and put on a dress and heels and all this stuff to go out to eat. Well, he came in from the fields. He cleaned up himself. And we walked out on the porch, and I was headed to the car, and he said, oh, no, honey. He said, we need to check something out back. Said, there's something out back I want you to see. Okay, I went out in the backyard, and there sat a table that he had picked up where it had wire cable that was on it. He put a tablecloth, my good china that was there, and he had a bologna sandwich on his plate and a bologna sandwich that was on my plate. And I looked at him and went to laughing. And he said, okay, are you ready to go eat? And I said, yeah, sit down. We're going to eat these bologna sandwiches. And then when we get through with these bologna sandwiches, you're going to take me out another night somewhere else besides this backyard. So that's what I thought was funny, that he come up with this bologna sandwich bit. What happened over in Vietnam, he didn't talk about it too much. But him and his 3 Army buddies, they put in a, as you say, I guess a bar there on base. and it was intense and stuff, and what they done was just sold beer and stuff like that was over there. And the person that really took care of everything for him was a woman, an old woman. He called her his mama son. And I said, honey, what does this mama son look like? Well, he showed me a picture of her, and I just died laughing. It was an old woman, and she had some of the blackest teeth I think I've ever seen. But that was her eating this whatever vine or something that's over there they eat. It turns your teeth black. Well, his mother was sending cookies and baked goods over to him in Vietnam, and she would pack it in popcorn, in the boxes with popcorn. Well, those people in Vietnam didn't know what popcorn was. So Mama San just loved this old popcorn. So he had her take care of all his goods or money or whatever he wanted to keep, because she would take care of it for him. That was with it. But that's basically all he would talk about, from Vietnam. He didn't go into any detail or anything from there. This is a picture of when people from going to Vietnam, his group, they met up in Branson, Missouri, and this is a photo of all of them that showed up for the reunion. This is the picture of the husbands and wives that was at the reunion also. And I would like to show you one little feller that's up front. His name is Kojo. This little feller was just barely 5 foot for him to get in the service. And I said, George, why did he let him in? He said, well, he's very good. He said he could look at you and break your neck in a second. One kick, you'd be gone. That's one reason why they let him get in. He was just barely tall enough. That was with it. But no, this was the last time he got together with his Vietnam people. That was with it. And it's something for when they get together, they can finally talk about what went on over there. And they all don't talk about things that happened in Vietnam. That's with it. But had a real good time. This image up here is one of his best buddies in Vietnam. This one right here was at Christmas time of George when he was in Vietnam. This one is him with his sister and their husbands that was with it. And this one right here is Braden with his pawpaw while we were up at Lake Texoma camping. This is George also when he was in Vietnam. This one was at Easter that happened with him, with it. This one here is a picture of him when he came back from picking up the snorkel from the fire department at the Huntsville prison is where he picked this up at. And then like I said, this is other pictures of the grandkids and him outside. He loved to be outside. So that's the board. I also have another board over here. This is another board we had fixed up when he passed away. This is his family. This is when me and George got married. That's our picture there. This is a picture of Bradley and Becky at Christmas time here at this house. This is George's picture of his tractor and his hay baler, which he loved to do. This is our trip to Ruidoso when it snowed and we got into a snowball fight. This here is a picture of all our grandkids. The last time we got a picture with him was in December, and he passed away that September. So we had pictures of him then. This is George when he was younger. This is a picture of him at the fire department when he made driver. This is when he was a senior in high school. He played football He wasn't he wasn't but 5 foot, being a senior. And here he is when he graduated, his senior picture. That's with it. And this is when he had his first communion from church. And then this is a picture of him and me and Becky and Bradley. So that was one of them. And he also had a lot of cute sayings. I don't know if you can see them or not, but he would, it's always, don't act like mama, act like pawpaw. He was always, and I was also older than dirt. So that's his board.